Karen's birthdays, it's time for Karen's birthday. Karen's birthdays, it's time for Karen's birthday. Karen's birthdays, it's time for Karen's birthday. Karen's birthdays, it's time for Karen's birthday.
But we do know one thing. It's time once again for Karen's big finally. Karen's birthdays, where she celebrates the birthdays of those who make the movies. Karen.
It is horribly exciting. So let's start off this week by birthdays by wishing a very happy birthday to a friend of the show and past Showcast guest, Mr. Joel Murray.
Oh,
Yay!
Joel Murray. Yes.
Who turns 52 but can play anywhere from a lovable Pixar cartoon character to a lovable, cold-blooded murderer who calmly kills people who have committed blatant acts of cruelty and stupidity against their fellow man.
Oh, yes.
That's true.
God bless America.
Yes,
God bless America.
He has quite a range. Joel was a very good guest. He was one of the best we've had, and we learned that he does a killer impersonation of his brother, Brian Doyle-Murray.
Wow.
Of course, much like I'm sure you do a good impression of Sean.
I also do a great impression of Brian
Doyle-Murray.
Doyle-Murray.
Who knew? Let's give this a listen.
Wait, Brian Doyle-Murray does the NFL film?
We had him do the NFL films
Lineup for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
as Brian Doyle-Murray. It's really great.
The 85 Bears, the greatest one-year dynasty ever to attack football. Richard Dent,
A great impersonation. Again.
Super Bowl MVP. The day had never gotten any better. The punky QB. Jim McMahon, good friend, good drinker, good golfer. Great guy to hang around, actually, quite frankly. Matt Suey. Back when there was a fullback.
That was great.
Not only is he ridiculously funny, just like his whole family is all ridiculously funny, but they're all great guys, and they have a restaurant in Florida called the Murray Brothers Caddy Shack, where they do a huge golf tournament every year for charity, and they are great guys and great golfers. Good guy.
He also
Good
did an
guys.
impersonation of Bill, which of course it's his brother. He can do an impersonation of Bill, but I'd never heard anybody do a Bill before.
No, I haven't
It
either.
was perfect.
And once you've heard someone do an impersonation, you can then do it. So, like, it was fun. If we'll have to play it our podcast for you sometime. But he does Bill, and it's great.
Wow.
It's like Bill does have a
He does Bill trying to goof on him out in the
When they're
out in
golfing.
the course.
Yeah.
Like when he's about to drive, he starts talking about stuff to him, razzing him. It's a great impersonation.
You know, you should learn the names.
Joel,
Of all these trees.
Of all these trees.
Talking about great guys, let's also wish a happy birthday to everyone's favorite hoser, Rick Moranis, who turns 61. 61,
awesome.
can you believe that?
Wow.
But can play anywhere from a Ghostbuster to a man with a very large helmet. As you can imagine, my favorite Rick Moranis movie is Ghostbusters, but I want to put it out to you guys. What are some of your favorite Rick Moranis movies?
Well, that's a great one because he imposed much of his lines.
no shit.
In that.
You're
Those
kidding.
I think those are improvisation.
With
He
Ghostbusters.
is a genius, by the way.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What were you
I was going
saying?
to say with Ghostbusters, he wasn't originally the one that they're going to have do the part. It was going to be John Candy, but John Candy
Wow,
came in with this
it's so
crazy
different.
That's right.
idea of making him very militant and this German soldier and very square and kind of violent.
Thank God they
And-
didn't do that. Oh, my God.
So they said, no, you have a different idea, and they brought in Rick Moranis.
But I know which John Candy they wanted. There is that sort of like John Candy character. where
Goofy,
he's just
funny.
a little more goofy. Okay, guys.
kind of like
you know,
the
so-
uncle, kind
That
of.
was a great Joel Murray.
Yeah.
That was a great. I just did a Joel Murray. Punky QB.
Punky, good guy.
But I got to tell you, Stephen Lewis, who was our guest 2 weeks ago,
Yes.
and brother, he is a huge SCTV fan. He has all these great mixed videotapes and stuff, and he sat me down and showed me just amazing. I mean, there's just so much. They did so much SCTV. None of us will ever see all of it.
Yeah.
Like there is that much SCTV out there, and it's all those brilliant people. It's all John Candy and Catherine O'Hara. They're in all of it.
Eugene Levy.
But
Marty
Eugene
Short.
Levy, and of course Rick Moranis.
Yep.
Have you ever? I mean, Rick Moranis does. The greatest Rick Moranis performances are all on SCTV. He is a genius and such a force of nature. He does an impersonation of George Carlin.
Oh, really?
One of the funny.
I
Look
gotta
up
go back
Rick
and
Moranis,
watch
George
SCTV.
Carlin.
Wow.
It is amazing, and just all his characters and stuff. Like if you've ever seen, there's a very famous sketch which Conan O'Brien has referenced because he's a big fan. Night School High Q.
Oh, that's the best.
That
That's
is
the
great,
best.
yeah.
Sometimes it's on YouTube, sometimes it's not.
I
actually.
know. Yeah, it's weird.
But it's night school students, so they're all dopes.
They're complete idiots.
And Rick Moranis plays the perfect Dan Aykroyd character. He plays a Dan Aykroyd character as good as Dan Aykroyd can, of the technical school guy. Like, anytime anything goes wrong, you know, he's like, well, Alex, if you have a problem, I'll come over there. I'll fix your microphone. He's got this whole, I mean, but the number of characters in the show is astounding.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
I would say outside of Ghostbusters, Spaceballs, which you referenced.
Oh yeah, Spaceballs.
And Strange Brew. I mean, those are probably the top 3.
Oh, strange.
What about My Blue Heaven? That's
I
a
loved
different.
My Blue Heaven.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a
He's
different
kinda-
Parenthood
kind
are
of
both
character.
Here's something
He's straight
fun.
man kind of in that.
What parts did he turn down? He turned down, get this,
Everything
the
for the last
janitor
15 years.
in The Breakfast Club.
different.
And get this is fun.
He
Ace-
would have pulled that off. I'm
He would've
thinking
been
about it.
good.
I'm like, nah, John Capellos is purple. Then again,
Then again,
he'd surprise you. didn't he?
this is so crazy. You know the movie Gone Fishing? It's a
Yeah,
terrible
Joe
movie
Pesci
with
and-
Joe.
Heard of it.
You know those two great comedians, Joe Pesci and Danny Glover.
Oh my
God,
goodness.
It
I
was
wanna see that now,
originally-
too.
Oh,
Originally meant for John Candy and Rick Moranis. That would have been great. But then John Candy died.
but that script was the
So-
one that we saw, so they didn't do it.
No.
I've
And
never
John
seen
Candy
that
knew to die before that happened. And lastly, Ace
That's how badly he didn't want to
Ventura. He was originally cast as Ace Ventura.
Man.
Whoa.
Isn't that
That would
weird?
have changed history. Marvel should do a What If comic book based on him doing Ace Ventura.
What if Rick Moranis played Ace
Now,
Ventura?
you alluded to the fact that he hasn't done anything in 15 years, and then not to make birthdays sad, but the reason he stopped is because his wife died of cancer in 91, and he thought to himself, what's the one thing that he wants to give to his family and his children? Because she was no longer there, and he said, I want to be a full-time dad. So he just decided to be home when the kids came home. And once he started doing that, of course, he couldn't do as much work. But now the kids are getting older, so he's slowly getting back out there. He most recently did a voice of Brother Bear in some sort of animated movie.
Still, that's 10 years ago.
He did 2
Yeah.
country albums.
That's
Oh,
just what I was going to
is that
mention.
right?
Yeah, he did 2 country
did-
albums, and they're pretty good. Like Steve got one of them, and
The
they're pretty
agoraphobic,
good.
the agoraphobic cowboy
Yeah.
is the country album, and the other one, which isn't necessarily a country album, but it's a Jewish sort of enjoying your roots kind of album called My Mother's Brisket and Other Love Songs.
That one I haven't heard.
Well, you're going to, because if
Oh.
Lee were here, he knows how much I love to hear celebrities sing. So I decided
Well, that's
I
perfect.
love the country one, but why don't we go with the one about briskets? And we'll listen to a little something called, I think, Poo Poo Poo?
Oh.
I think that it is.
Is that like poo-poo, the poo-poo platter?
It's,
isn't there a food called poo-poo?
Perhaps.
You must eat the poo-poo.
Feldman's men today look great. Mindy graduated with a 3.8.
Hey!
Milky says they're just about to renovate. And don't tell anybody, but Debbie is late.
Oh!
This is not that great. Country song I heard was pretty good.
Actually, I've heard the country songs. They're kind of
They're
like
not
this.
bad.
Both of these types of songs, they're just different types of songs, but his music has a general, like, nice quality to it.
Yeah.
They're sort of just
He's very
simple,
sweet.
likable. They're not,
Well, he
I
just
like
talked
this.
about a girl being perhaps pregnant, but instead of saying she was a whore, he said she's late.
She's late.
You know, not for
yeah.
nothing.
So that's it.
I think Martin Ferraro did the same thing. The guy who was the lawyer who was killed by a dinosaur, the T-Rex.
Yeah.
in,
He's a great
Jurassic
guy,
Park.
too.
His son had autism, and he said, "I'm done,
Oh, wow.
and now I got to take care of my
He
kid."
doesn't have as much money to sit on as Honey I Shrunk the Kids does.
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
He's also putting a klezmer album out. It'll be out. It's